I'm at the spa, my mom said after my car crash. I canceled the $504,000 I'd quietly paid her. 36 hours later, Grandpa changed his will. I am Lauren Bennett, and I am 30 years old. 4 weeks ago I woke up in a hospital bed with a fractured collarbone, 4 broken ribs and a concussion so severe that physicians were concerned about brain bleeding. My 8-week-old daughter Mia was with a stranger. I hired a skilled newborn care specialist over the phone while paramedics were cutting me out of my destroyed Honda. The accident was not my fault. A delivery truck went 55 miles per hour through a red light and T-boned my automobile on the driver's side. My vehicle spun across 4 traffic lanes as a result of the incident. I remember the screech of metal, the explosion of the airbag, and then nothing except blackness and the distant sound of sirens. When I woke up in the ambulance, my first words were about Mia. "Hi baby," I said through the breathing mask. 8 weeks old, at home with a neighbor. Need someone? The paramedic, a woman in her 50s with warm eyes, squeezed my hand. "We'll help you figure it out. Stay calm." But I couldn't. Mia was exclusively breastfed. She'd never taken a bottle. Mrs. Liu, my neighbor, was 72, and she had only consented to watch Mia for the 25-minute drive to the grocery store. It had now been 55 minutes, and I was on my way to the emergency room instead of home. I contacted my mother from the ambulance despite my shaky hands and foggy vision. She answered the third ring. "Lauren, I'm at the spa." "Mom, what is it?" My voice cracked. "I have been in an automobile accident. A bad one. I am in an ambulance. Mia is at home with Mrs. Liu. Could you please go grab her? I'm not sure when I will." "Is it an accident?" She let out a big sigh, like she always did when I inconvenienced her. "Lauren, are you sure it's really serious? You know how dramatic you are about these things." I could hear flowing water in the background, spa music. The champagne glasses clinked together. "Mom, my automobile was totaled. I sustained a head injury. They are transporting me to County General. Please, I only need you to get Mia." "County General? That is 90 minutes distant from me. I'm getting a seaweed wrap right now. Can't your hubby handle it?" "Daniel is in Dallas for work. He will not land for another 4 hours." "Mom, please, she's 8 weeks old. She needs—" "Hold on." I overheard muted chatter. Then I heard my sister's voice in the background giggling about something. Mom got back on the line. "Lauren, your sister and I will leave tomorrow morning on our Caribbean cruise. We have the pre-cruise spa package today. It is already paid for." My head was throbbing. Each phrase seemed like it drained my energy. "Mom, there is an emergency. Your granddaughter needs—" "Your sister never has these emergencies, Lauren." Her voice became sharper now. "Samantha has 2 children, and she has never called me in a panic over a vehicle accident or a catastrophe. You need to be more organized and accountable." Something in my chest snapped, and it wasn't just my fractured ribs. "I didn't plan to get hit by a truck, Mom." "Well, you should have backup plans. This is what responsible parents do. I can't just drop everything whenever you have a problem. We've been planning this cruise for 8 months. The ambulance struck a pothole. Pain erupted across my torso. I gave a gasp. "Are you actually listening to me?" Mom added. "This is exactly why I am concerned about you. Always in chaos and in need of rescuing. I raised you to be independent, but you still call Mother whenever something goes wrong." The paramedic watched me with concern on her face. She could hear every word over the phone speaker. "I'm not asking you to cancel your cruise," I insisted, forcing the words out. "Just to watch Mia for a few hours until I can arrange something else. Please, Lauren. I'm getting on a ship tomorrow. I need to pack. I need to prepare. Your father and I both deserve this vacation. We have worked hard our entire lives. We will not let your poor planning mar our trip." My lousy planning. My voice cracked. "Mom, I was hit by a truck. And I am sure you are okay. You're chatting, right? You're always overly theatrical about medical issues. Remember when you thought you had appendicitis, but it was just gas? Or when you thought you had pneumonia but instead had a cold?" I closed my eyes. The memories ached differently now. She was dismissive then too. I'm annoyed that I bothered her. "This is different." "You said they were all different." "Look, I need to go. My shawl is becoming cold. Call a friend or hire a babysitter. Do you make excellent money?" Problem solved. The call went dead. I looked at my damaged phone screen, and my mother's contact photo smiled back at me. It was from last Christmas. She was holding Mia, her first grandchild, and smiling proudly for photos. I expected things to change once Mia was born, and that becoming a grandma would soften her. I was mistaken. The paramedic carefully stroked my arm. Do you have anyone else you could call? I scanned through my contacts with shaky fingers. Rachel, my best friend, was in Seattle attending a conference. Daniel's parents were in Arizona. Mrs. Liu, my neighbor, was unable to handle a newborn for more than an hour. Then I found it. I stored a business card in my phone 8 months ago when I was pregnant and we were looking for childcare choices. Elite newborn care and 365 emergency services. With the paramedics' assistance, I called them. A calm voice responded promptly. Elite newborn care. This is Karen. I need assistance. The words spilled out. I am in an ambulance. Car accident. My 8-week-old daughter is at home with an elderly neighbor who is unable to care for her in the long run. I need someone now. Someone capable of caring for an exclusively breastfed infant. Someone who can remain as long as necessary. We can get someone to you within 50 minutes. Where is the baby now? I gave her Mrs. Liu's address. Karen posed calm, professional inquiries. Did Mia have any medical issues? Were there supplies in the house? What was my hospital destination? Our specialist Emily will be there in 45 minutes. Karen stated that she is a registered nurse with 18 years of neonatal care expertise. She will coordinate with the hospital for pumped milk if you are able, or we will give formula if necessary. Do not worry about anything. We have your daughter. How much will it cost? Our emergency cost is $85 per hour with a 5-hour minimum. However, for the time being, you must prioritize receiving medical attention. We will manage the rest. I nearly cried. Someone was truly assisting me. There is no judgment or guilt, only help. Thank you, I muttered. You are welcome, Mama. We'll care for her like she's our own. If you're enjoying this story and want to know what happens next, could you please hit the like button? It truly helps me keep writing these stories. The year was chaotic. Doctors, nurses, machines beeping, and bright lights made my head hurt even worse. They performed a CT scan of my head and x-rays of my chest and shoulder. The pain medication made everything hazy, but one thought remained crystal clear. My mother had refused to aid her granddaughter. My phone rang as they were sewing a cut on my forehead. Daniel, sweetie, oh my God. I just landed and noticed your messages. Are you okay? Is Mia okay? I told him everything. The accident happened. Mother's reluctance. The care service I had hired. Your mother said no. His voice increased. She declined to monitor her own grandchild during a medical emergency? Does she have a cruise tomorrow? I don't give a damn if Hillary meets with the Pope. You were in a car accident. He took a breath. I'm taking a trip back right now. I will be there in 2.5 hours. How about your presentation? Screw the presentation, my wife is at the hospital. That's when I began crying. Not because of the agony or anxiety, but because Daniel's instant response demonstrated what a real family should be like. And it made my mother's rejection much more painful. After being admitted for overnight observation, I did something I had been thinking about since the ambulance trip. Something I'd been too terrified to do for 10 years. I opened my banking app and went to automatic payments. There was the transfer I initiated when I was 19 years old. When I started my first professional work after college, my parents indicated that they were having trouble paying their mortgage because Dad's hours had been reduced, which was $4,200 per month for 120 months. I hadn't informed them it was me. The funds were sent to a separate account that I had set up, and then automatically transferred to their mortgage company. They assumed Dad's pension had grown, or that Mom's part-time bookkeeping earned more than it did. They never asked any questions. They simply relished their financial security. That $4,200 paid their entire mortgage, leaving extra money for their car payment. It's how they could afford spa days, Caribbean cruises, and shopping excursions with my sister. This is how Dad was able to retire at the age of 63 rather than working until 67. $4,200 times 120 months equals $504,000. I had paid over $500,000 to keep my parents comfortable, yet my mother couldn't spare 2.5 hours to hold her granddaughter while I was in the hospital. I canceled the automatic payment. Then I tried something different. I've opened a new savings account. I dubbed it Mia's Future. I set up the same automatic transfer this time to my daughter's account, for $4,200 per month. My mother couldn't bring herself to help her daughter. My finger hovered over the confirm button for just a second. Then I pushed it. A nurse came in to check my vital signs. You're looking better, she commented. Color's back in your face. I just made a decision I should have made years ago. She smiled. Those are usually the best kind. Around 7:30 p.m., I heard a knock on my hospital room door. I was expecting Daniel, but instead a tall man in his 70s strolled in. Gray hair, bright blue eyes and a cardigan despite the California heat. Grandpa is my mother's father. The man who taught me to fish, paid for my college textbooks when money was tight, and gave me $200 every birthday for something special long after I was an adult. Grandpa. I attempted to sit up, wincing. How did you? Mrs. Liu summoned me. He drew a chair closer to my bed. Said you were in an accident and my daughter refused to help with the baby. She claimed she overheard your phone talk when you stopped by to get Mia earlier. I had picked up Mia from Mrs. Liu's residence before the paramedics transported me to the hospital. Emily, a care specialist, had met me there. Mrs. Liu seemed appalled by what she had heard. Grandpa, I'm fine. Mia has a professional caretaker. Everything's... Stop. His voice was kind yet forceful. Do not do that. Don't minimize what happened. He sat in silence for a bit, only looking at me. Then he added, your grandmother and I paid for that cruise. I blinked. What? Your mother has been talking about the Caribbean cruise for months. We've paid for it. I bought it for her and your father's anniversary. We paid $14,500 for the premium package. He shakes his head. I thought we were giving them a lovely gift. I didn't aware we were paying their justification to abandon their daughter and grandchild. Grandpa. You didn't know. I called your mother an hour ago. His tone sharpened. I told her I knew what she did. Are you aware of what she said? I waited. She said you were being dramatic, that you were fine, that you'd always been too dependent and needed to learn to handle things yourself. He leaned forward. Then she added, Mia isn't even my responsibility. Lauren decided to have a kid. She has to deal with the repercussions. The words struck me like a second collision. Consequences? I repeated. She referred to my daughter as a consequence. That's when I told her the cruise was cancelled. My eyes expanded. What? I called the cruise line. I've cancelled the booking. As the buyer, I have that right. They are refunding the money to my credit card. He smiled, but there was no warmth to it. Your mother and father will not be going on any cruise tomorrow. Grandpa, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. He reached over and cautiously grabbed my hand, avoiding the fourth. Lauren, I need to tell you something. Before she died, your grandmother made me pledge to care out for you. Said she was concerned about how your mother handled you differently than Samantha. I could feel tears welling up. I wondered if she was seeing things that were not there. Grandmothers can be protective, but I've been watching for years. I have seen the patterns. The way your sister is praised for the same things you are criticized for. The way your accomplishments are overlooked while hers are lauded. The way you're always expected to be understanding, while she's free to be selfish. It's just how Mom is, I said softly. That is how you have let her be. How we all let her be. He grasped my hand. Not anymore. Not after this. There was another knock. This time it was Daniel, still dressed in his conference suit, carrying flowers and looking frantic. When he saw me, his expression collapsed in relief. I'm fine, I replied, as he softly kissed my forehead. We're okay. Grandfather stood up. I'll give you both some solitude. But Lauren, before I leave, is there anything I should know? Anything else happened? I paused. Then I told him about the $4,200 monthly payments, the 10 years of financial support, and how I had just canceled them. Grandpa's face became very still. You've been paying their mortgage and car payment. I set it up when I was 19. They had no idea it was me. $4,200 per month for 10 years. He completed the math quickly. That's nearly $500,000. $504,000, I confirm. Daniel stared at me. You never told me. I did not tell anyone. I simply offered assistance as needed. So I did. Grandpa remained quiet for a long time. Then he asked, did they ever thank you? Have you ever acknowledged the help you received? They had no idea it was me, but they knew their financial situation had improved significantly. They realized they had extra money every month. Have they ever questioned it? Ever wondered? Ever wonder if they should be more cautious with money that appears out of nowhere? I'd never considered it that way. They just spent it, I said carefully, on cruises and shopping and spa days and helping Samantha with her down payment. And I paused. They used my money to help Samantha buy her house. When you were involved in a car accident with an 8-week-old baby, Your mother couldn't spare 2.5 hours. Grandpa's voice was icy. She took your money for 10 years and couldn't give you 2.5 hours. He took out his phone. I'm making a call. You rest. He entered the hallway, but I could hear his voice through the door. Hi Evelyn, it's Dad. No, I'm not talking about the cruise again. I am calling about something else. Something I just learned. Pause. Did you know that Lauren has been paying your mortgage for 10 years? Silence. Then Grandpa's voice returned, stronger. $4,200 per month. The total amount is $504,000. Evelyn, your daughter, the one you called dramatic today, the one you refused to help, has been keeping you financially afloat since she was 19 years old. Another pause. She canceled the payments this afternoon from her hospital bed after you abandoned her and your granddaughter. I could hear my mother's shrill voice now, even over the phone. Grandpa let her speak for a moment. Then he spoke the words that changed everything. You have 36 hours to make things right, Evelyn. 36 hours to apologize to your daughter, meet your granddaughter properly, and express even a fraction of the gratitude and love she deserves. If you don't, I'll change my will. Everything I plan to leave you, the house in Pasadena, the stocks, the savings bonds, all of it, goes to Lauren and Mia instead. More shouting from the phone. I'm not kidding, I had already contacted Robert Klein, my attorney. He'll draft the changes tomorrow morning. Do you think I'm going to leave my estate to someone who treats their own daughter as garbage? Who describes their granddaughter as a consequence? His voice lowered. Your mother would be ashamed of you. I know I am. He hung up. Daniel and I sat in stunned silence. Grandpa walked back in, looking 10 years older but more determined. That woman is my daughter, and I adore her. But love does not imply accepting unacceptable behavior. Your grandmother taught me that. Grandpa, your will. You don't have to. It's already done in my head. Whether she apologizes or not, you'll receive the majority. But I'm giving her 36 hours because your grandma would want me to give her daughter the opportunity to do the right thing. He kissed my forehead. Take some rest. I'm going to meet my great-granddaughter. Daniel, text me the address of that care service. After he departed, Daniel carefully climbed into the hospital bed next to me, clutching me like I was made of glass. $500,000, he muttered. Babe, we could have paid off our house. I understand. We could have established Mia's college fund years ago. I know. Why haven't you told me? I remained quiet for a long time. Because then I'd have to admit something I already knew. That I was paying for love when it should have been free. That I was purchasing my parents' approval. That no amount of money I gave them would be enough to make them treat me the same way they treat Samantha. He gripped me tightly. I'm sorry, he replied. For what? For not noticing it sooner. For failing to protect you from them. You did protect me. You flew home from Dallas in the middle of your most important presentation of the year. That is fundamental human decency, Beck. That is the bare minimum. Exactly, I commented. And my mother couldn't even manage that. My phone began ringing at 9:45 p.m. I declined the call. She called again. Declined. Then the texts started coming in. Lauren, we need to discuss this misunderstanding. Your grandfather is being totally unreasonable. I never said I would not help. You didn't give me an opportunity to explain. You're tearing this family apart over a simple misunderstanding. I blocked that number. Then my sister called. What the heck have you done? Samantha's tone was caustic. Mom is hilarious. The cruise is canceled. Grandpa has threatened to cut her out of the will. All because you got an fender bender and Mom couldn't drop everything right away. There was no fender bender. I have 4 broken ribs and a fractured collarbone. You're obviously fine enough to cause family drama. Do you know how much Mom was looking forward to the cruise? Do you realize how hard she has worked? Working? I nearly laughed. Samantha, I have been paying their mortgage for 10 years. $4,200 per month. That is how Mom can afford not to work. This is how Dad retired early. That's how they assisted you with your down payment. Silence. You're lying. Check with Grandpa. Or better still, ask Mom. Ask her where she thought the extra $4,200 per month came from over the last 10 years. Even if that's true. It is true. It does not grant you the right to manipulate Grandpa. He is elderly. He is not thinking clearly. He thinks more clearly than anyone. He sees exactly what Mom, you and I are. Her voice increased. I'm not the one blackmailing my own mother with Grandpa's inheritance. No. You are the one who receives everything while I pay for it. The golden child who can't go wrong. But I'm always the issue. I took a breath. I am done, Samantha. I'm finished paying your lifestyle. I'm done being the family's ATM. I'm tired of accepting scraps of attention while you're celebrated for simply existing. You're acting insane. Mom loves you. Mom tolerates me as long as I am useful. Today I found out how much my usefulness is worth. 2.5 hours. She could not give me 2.5 hours for her grandchild. She had plans. I suffered a head injury. Samantha was quiet for a minute. Then, you know what? Fine. Keep Grandpa's money. Keep your victim mindset. But don't expect me to feel sorry for you if you end yourself alone because you drove everyone away. She hung up. Daniel had been listening to the entire talk. Are you okay? Actually, yeah. And I meant it. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I can breathe. The following morning, I was discharged with strong instructions to rest for 3 weeks. Daniel took Mia to the hospital, and I held my baby for the first time since the accident. She was perfect, healthy, and hungry. Emily, the care specialist, did an excellent job. She took meticulous records on feeding times, diaper changes, and sleeping patterns. She'd even pumped and saved the breast milk that the hospital had helped me express. You have a beautiful daughter, Emily said as she packed her belongings. And you are a strong mama. Not many ladies could make the calls you did while in an ambulance. I got help. Thank you for being there when my own mother couldn't. She smiled sadly. Family is who shows up. Remember that. We got home to flowers. I received dozens of bouquets from friends, Daniel's co-workers, neighbors, and messages wishing me a swift recovery. Nothing from my parents. Nothing from my sister. However, there was something from Grandpa. A huge box containing a note. For Mia's future, because she deserves grandparents who put her first. Love. Grandpa Henry. Inside there were savings bonds. $60,000 value. I cried. The 36-hour deadline has passed. Nobody apologized. No telephone call. There's no text. Grandpa's attorney called the next day to confirm that the will had been modified. Lauren and Mia Bennett were now the main beneficiaries. My mother would receive $15,000, which would be enough for a lovely trip but insufficient to sustain the lifestyle that my money provided. My mother's mortgage payment bounced 3 weeks after the accident occurred. Then their automobile payment. I know because she called from a number that I hadn't banned. Lauren, there's an error with our mortgage. The payment did not go through. Can you verify your end? I took a deep breath. There is no mistake, Mom. I canceled the payments. What? Why should you? She paused. Wait. Was that you? Since I was 19 you've been sending me money every month. But we thought your father's pension was barely enough to cover your utilities. I covered everything else for 10 years. Lauren, you cannot just stop, we'll lose our house. We will lose everything. I feel like I almost lost everything when that truck hit me. When I was alone in the ambulance, afraid, calling my mother for assistance and being denied. I apologized for that. I contacted Grandpa, and you called him to save your inheritance. You have never apologized to me. Silence. Mom, you received 10 years of financial assistance from me, and I gave freely, asking nothing in return except to be treated as if I cared. As if I were worth 2.5 hours of your time during a medical emergency. You couldn't even give me that. Lauren, please, we are your parents. You can't simply abandon us. The irony was so deep that I nearly choked on it. You are the one who abandoned me initially. You abandoned your grandchild. You chose a cruise over your daughter's emergency. Now I'm building mine. How about family loyalty? How about it? Where was your loyalty when I was cut out of a car? Where was your loyalty when your 8-week-old granddaughter needed it? We can work something out. We can attend family therapy. We can... No. The word had a strong sense of power. Final. I'm finished working things out. I'm done being the only one who tries. I'm done paying for love that should be free. I hung up. The calls continued in waves after that. Mom, Dad, Samantha and some cousins I barely knew. All of them convey the same message. I was pulling the family apart. I was being vindictive. I overreacted. No one asked if I was okay. No one asked about Mia. No one accepted that my mother's refusal to assist during a medical emergency was the real issue. I blocked them all. Grandpa came every week. He would hold Mia and tell her stories about her great-grandmother. He'd ask about my rehabilitation. He would bring groceries and help around the house. "You're doing the right thing," he said one afternoon. "It takes bravery to move away from poisonous relationships, especially if they are family. Especially if it's family. Do you think she'll ever understand?" Honestly, probably not. People like your mother regard themselves as the victim in every story. You'll always be the ungrateful daughter who abandoned her, not the generous child who supported her for years or the injured mother who need basic assistance. That's sad. It is. However, it is not your obligation to change her perspective. Your responsibility is to Mia, to yourself, and to create the family you deserve. He was correct. 3 months later, I learned from a common friend that my parents had downsized to a smaller condo, sold their car and purchased something more affordable, and that my mother had taken on a full-time bookkeeping position. They were learning how to live within their means for the first time in 10 years. I felt no delight in their struggles, but also no guilt. 8 months after the accident, Daniel was promoted. We used his bonus to start Mia's college fund, with the $4,200 per month I had been sending my parents now going into an account for our daughter. Mia would have just over $850,000 for her studies in 17 years if she continued at her current rate. A sum she would never have to repay. A generous gift presented with love, as is customary for parents. 18 months after the accident, I received a letter. Not from my mother, but from my sister Samantha. "I'm writing because I finally understand what you tried to tell me. Mom urged me to start assisting with their finances. She explained that it was only temporary, until they could get back on their feet. That escalated into monthly requests for money, then weekly, and finally virtually daily. She has already requested for $52,000 this year. I have given her $26,000. My hubby is furious. My marriage is straining. When I informed Mom I couldn't offer any more, she labeled me selfish. Ungrateful, just as she used to call you. I understand now. You were not exaggerating. You weren't overly theatrical. You were being utilized. And when you couldn't be used anymore, you were discarded. I am sorry I did not believe you. I am sorry I chose her over you. I understand if you never want to talk to me again. But I wanted you to know you were right about everything. Your sister Samantha." I reread the letter 3 times. A part of me wanted to feel vindicated. To say I told you so. To welcome her to the group of daughters who had finally seen through our mother's deceit. But basically I felt sleepy. I responded with a simple note rather than a long letter. "Thank you, Samantha, for being honest. I hope you find the strength to create limits. Like I did. You deserve better than to be used. I am not ready to rebuild a relationship yet. Maybe eventually, but I appreciate you seeing the truth. Take care of yourself." I didn't hear from her again, and that was fine. Mia is 3 years old now. She's hilarious and fierce, and she knows nothing about the grandmother who labeled her a consequence. She recognizes Grandpa Henry, who comes every Sunday and tells her the same stories he used to read to me. She knows Daniel's parents, who went from Arizona to aid her with croup and never complained. She understands that family members are the ones who turn up. We were at the park last week when another mother inquired if Mia's grandparents ever come to visit. "Oh yes," I replied, seeing Mia grin as Grandpa pushed her on the swing. "Her grandfather comes every week." "How about your parents?" I smiled. "That is my parent, the one who matters." The woman appeared perplexed but did not press. "Here's what I've learned in the 3 years after my car accident. Some individuals will only value you based on what you can supply. When you quit providing it, they'll reveal who they are. Believe them. Don't squander years attempting to earn love that should have been freely given." Sometimes I think about the $504,000. Money I will never get back. Money that could have impacted my life in dozens of ways. But I also consider what I got from cutting them off. Peace. Self-respect. A distinct sense of my worth. A family founded on true love rather than obligation and guilt. That is worth more than any dollar number. My mother gives Mia a card every year on her birthday. I do not open them. They go immediately into a box in the garage. Mia may one day be interested in learning more about that side of her family. Perhaps she will want to read them. But right now she has all she needs. Her parents chose her every day. A great-grandfather adores her. And a future built on love instead of guilt. If you're listening to this and you've been the family ATM, paying for affection that should be free, and you've been reduced, disregarded and told you're dramatic when you voice valid demands, I'd like to tell you something. You do not have to fund your own torture. You are not obligated to fund people who refuse to show up for you. You are free to save your money, time and energy for those who truly value you. And if stepping away means losing those who merely wanted what you had to offer, you have not lost family. You are losing users. There is a distinction. My name is Lauren Bennett. I am 32 years old. I am a mother, wife, and granddaughter. I used to be both a daughter and a sister. However, I'm realizing that DNA alone does not constitute family. Loyalty works. Respect does. Showing up works. 18 months ago, my mother declined to watch my newborn after my car accident since she had cruise tickets. She now works full-time to afford the lifestyle she used to take for granted. My grandfather modified his will to safeguard both his granddaughter, who needed protection, and myself. I'm thriving. We are prospering. Because sometimes the finest payback isn't vengeance at all. It's about creating a beautiful life with people who deserve to be in it. If you found strength in this story, please leave a comment below and tell me where you're listening from. If you've established comparable boundaries with toxic family members, you're not alone. We're all out here making better families, one decision at a time.